I still remember the moment my life changed forever. It was a hot afternoon, and I was sitting in a crowded lecture hall at my university in Nigeria, pretending to listen to a lecture I didn't care about. The professor kept writing formulas on the board. Students around me were copying everything down, and everyone looked like they knew exactly why they were there, except me. I stared at my notebook and realized something that scared me. I had no idea what I was doing with my life. From the outside, everything looked fine. I had gained admission into a university. My parents were proud. My relatives kept telling everyone that I was doing well in school. But deep down, I felt trapped. Every day felt the same. Wake up early, rush to lectures, sit through classes that didn't inspire me, then return to the hostel feeling empty. Weeks turned into months, and nothing about my life felt meaningful. One evening, after lectures, I sat alone outside the faculty building, watching other students walk past. Some were laughing with friends, some were talking about assignments, and others were discussing their future careers. That's when a question popped into my head. Is this really the life I want? The thought wouldn't leave me alone. For weeks I kept asking myself that same question, and the more I thought about it, the more uncomfortable the answer became. Because the truth was simple. I wasn't happy. The problem wasn't that education was bad. The problem was that I felt like I was following a path that someone else had chosen for me. In Nigeria, dropping out of university is almost unthinkable. People believe once you get admission, you must finish no matter what. If you quit, society automatically assumes you've failed. I knew this. That was why the idea of leaving terrified me. But everything changed one night. I was scrolling through my phone when I saw a video of a Nigerian student studying abroad. He talked about the opportunities he had, the experience changing. I told them I had been thinking a lot about my future.
What are you saying?
That I didn't
This will
feel
affect the whole
fulfilled in
family.
my
I
current
know, but I
program.
must. I know this is hard,
Then
but I have to follow my heart.
So
So
what about your
family? We need you here.
This is
I
not the
want
way, my
to
son.
leave university and apply to study abroad. For a few seconds, the room was silent. The room was silent. Then my father laughed. He short. I was joking, but when he raised his expression changed. He asked me if I understood what I was saying. Dropping out of university in Nigeria is not something parents take lightly. My mother looked worried. My father looked disappointed. They kept asking the same question. What if it doesn't work? And honestly, that question scared me too. What if I dropped out and nothing happened? What if I failed? What if everyone was right about me? But another question was even scarier. What if I stayed and spent the rest of my life wondering, what if? That thought was unbearable. So I made the hardest decision of my life. I left. I officially dropped out of university. For a while, things were difficult. Friends started asking questions. Some people said I had made a huge mistake. Others assumed I had been expelled. Relatives began calling my parents to ask what happened. But while everyone was talking, I was working. I spent months preparing applications, writing personal statements, researching universities, looking for scholarships, learning everything I could about studying abroad. Some nights I felt confident. Other nights I doubted everything, but I kept going. Then one morning something unbelievable happened. I opened my email and saw a message from a university abroad. My hands were shaking as I clicked it. The first line read, "Congratulations." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I had been accepted. No, only that. But I also received financial support that made it possible for me to go. That moment made every sleepless night worth it. When I told my parents, they were shocked. My father didn't say much at first.
Mom, Dad, look at
But
this.
later that
Oh, my
evening,
dear, this
he
is
told me something
wonderful.
I will
Fantastic
never
work,
forget.
my son.
Thanks.
He said
I'm
he was
so
proud
happy.
that I had the courage to chase something bigger. Leaving Nigeria to study abroad was one of the most frightening decisions I ever made. I was leaving my comfort zone, leaving my friends, leaving everything familiar. But it was also one of the best decisions of my life. Because sometimes the biggest opportunities are on the other side of the decision.
Professor, could you clarify the growth metric on the screen?
Looking
Yes,
back
it's
now,
the quarterly
I
increase.
realized
Ah, I
something
see. Thank you.
important. Dropping out of university wasn't the end of my education. It was the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where I finally took control of my own future. And if there's one thing I've learned from this journey, it's this. Your life changes the moment you stop living by other people's expectations and start chasing the future you truly believe in.
I've come so far. This view reminds me of every step. The journey continues.